Hello Normans, and welcome back to this week's Norman News. I'm Grace Suomi.
And I'm Natalie Gold. Stay tuned for news on Spirit Week.
And more updates on Russia and Ukraine. Around the school in 15 minutes, this is the Norman News. Hello Normans. This week we are hosting Spirit Week for the celebration of St. Patrick's Day. Today, March 14th, will be Soccer Mom Monday, Tuesday is Twin Tuesday, Wednesday is Western Wednesday, Thursday, wear green to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and finally on Friday, dress in your comfiest pajamas. We look forward to seeing all of your creative outfits. Now to Natalie with World News.
The damages and losses due to Russia's invasion in Ukraine have been immense. Thousands of people have lost their lives. The UN estimates that 549 civilian lives have been lost in Ukraine. 1.8 thousand people have received non-fatal injuries. 1.7 thousand buildings have been destroyed. There's been over $100 billion in property damage, and 2.3 billion people have been displaced. Boris Johnson, the British Prime Minister, fears that Russia may use chemical warfare and weapons in Ukraine. Boris claims that it's straight out of their playbook. President Zelensky of Ukraine has pleaded with NATO and the United States to establish a no-fly zone over the country of Ukraine, although as of now, NATO is refusing to do so. The UK has said that Russia admitted to using vacuum bombs in their invasions in Ukraine. A maternity hospital and a children's hospital have both been bombed in Ukraine, and the genocide by Russia is continuing. Russia has claimed that from 10 a.m. local time, it will open up evacuation corridors leading from Ukraine to Russia. Now to Eden with more world news.
Thanks, Natalie. Ukraine's Winter Paralympics athletes won a record medal haul in Beijing this past week, despite being directly affected by Russian invasions and attacks. Leading up to the Winter Paralympics opening ceremony, there were major doubts that Ukraine's team of 20 athletes would not reach China, and that even if they did make it, they could be sharing podiums with Russian athletes, even as Russian tanks rolled towards Kiev and caused destruction inside the Ukrainian capital. Going into the final day of the Games, Ukraine had amassed 10 gold, 10 silver, and 8 bronze medals in the two sports, which is incredible considering the circumstances. On Thursday, the entire Ukrainian team held a peace protest in the Paralympic Village. After holding up a banner saying peace for all, they observed a minute of silence for all the victims of the war. Even though the war is thousands of miles away in Ukraine, the impact could be very directly felt in Beijing. We congratulate the Ukrainian team for their efforts and for making history, and wish them and their country to be safe in the weeks to come. Now to Nora with local news.
Thanks, Eden. On March 12th, the police officers of Beverly Hills met up at Phil's Coffee from 9 to 11 a.m. This event was a way for locals to get to know the people protecting their city and enjoy a delicious coffee. The event was called Coffee with a Cop, and it is held regularly every year. Chief of Police Mark Stainbrook was at the last event on January 12th, and he'll hopefully continue to appear at these events. The bonding experience was a great success, and many individuals were able to talk with the police officers. Now to Deborah with entertainment.
Thanks, Nora. The 25-year-old model, Hailey Bieber, was rushed to the hospital in Palm Springs area last Thursday after experiencing stroke-like symptoms. That morning, after being taken to the hospital, doctors found a small blood clot in her brain due to lack of oxygen. A few days later, Hailey addresses these health concerns, saying that it was definitely the scariest moment she has ever been through. Hailey also reveals that she is now at home doing well, and that she is grateful to thankful to all the amazing doctors and nurses who took care of her. Now to Natalie with this week's movie review.
Thanks, Deborah. Starring Brad Pitt, Sandra Bullock, and Channing Tatum, The Lost City will be released on March 25th, 2022. Loretta Sage, the famous author of popular action novels, writes about exotic locations throughout her books. While promoting her new novel with the cover model of the book, Alan, Loretta is kidnapped by a billionaire wanting to find the ancient city and the treasure that accompanies it, the ancient city that Loretta wrote about in her newest novel. To prove that he can be a hero not only on the pages but in real life too, Ellen goes off on his own to try and rescue Loretta.
3, 2, 1. Here's a
trailer
trailer for the Lost City.
Here's a trailer for the Lost City.
Screw you, man.
You led me straight to the Lost City. Now, prepare to die.
There were just hundreds of snakes in this temple just waiting for us to show up.
What? Why aren't they biting that guy?
This is ridiculous. Delete. Delete. Delete.
Listen, Loretta, we need you to promote your new book on the Lost City. You can't spend your life in the bathtub drinking Chardonnay with ice.
Ladies and gentlemen, the world's sexiest cover model, Dash McMahon!
You do know you're not Dash, right? Dash is a character I made up. Dash! Oh my god. Oh, crap.
Miss Sage, I enjoyed your book about the Lost City, and I believe you're the one who can help me find its treasure.
I have to respectfully decline.
I'm afraid I must insist.
Unchain me!
That's your seatbelt.
Loretta Sage is missing.
I'm gonna rescue her. I just want her to think of me as more than a cover model.
Let's start living dangerously. Alan, what are you doing here?
We're here to save you. I'm certified CPR, I'm certified CrossFit. I have snacks.
After them!
This is like your book. We're on a Lovemore and Dash adventure right now. I'm gonna help you out a little bit.
Let's go. What are you doing? Don't do that. Oh, God, get out of there. This is not a romance novel. Jungles eat people like us.
Ah, what is that? Get it off. Please. I can feel him sucking my soul. River like a bandit. Don't make that sound. Feels like there's more.
Holy mother of God.
They're just sucking on my butt like a big old Jamba Juice.
We're so close. I could actually find the Lost City.
If I don't get to this island, my friend and her cover model are going to die.
I am driving. Oh, 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 oh! 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 Oh!
Loretta Sage, getting you out of here.
Why are you so handsome?
My dad was a weatherman.
Hey, whoa, she doesn't need saving in there.
Okay.
What are you doing in there?
Thank you so much, Natalie. I'm so excited to go check out the Lost City, and it looks amazing.
Go get your tickets for the Lost City today. Now let's send it to Julia with this week's field report.
Political tensions, inflation, and the COVID-19 pandemic have caused a surge in gasoline prices and have pushed the average U.S. price for a gallon of gasoline above $4 for the first time since 2008.
With many student drivers here at Beverly Hills High School, let's see how they're coping with this change.
What are your thoughts on raising gas prices?
For me, since I pay for gas, it gets kind of annoying how the gas prices are raised because I spend the majority of my money on gas and not on other things.
Oh, I think it's terrible for people that have to drive gas-powered cars, which is, the majority. And, it's getting really expensive for people, like now, like one full tank is like over $100 for most people, so it's really bad, and we gotta change that.
I personally don't have a car, but when I do, the inflation's gonna be really high, and I'm scared to get one.
Honestly, I find it really shocking, and I hope it doesn't go up too much.
I think it's crazy. It's unbelievable how expensive.
Thanks, Julia. Total War Warhammer 3 is an RTS, or real-time strategy game, taking place within the setting of Warhammer Fantasy, meaning setting up troops, evolving your technology, managing the economy, creating alliances, and conquering the world. The gameplay shifts from faction to faction, so I'll explain all of the nuances when I cover each faction. The overarching story is that the bear god Ursun is on his deathbed, and all of the endgame factions are racing in reaction to his death. The first being Kislev, Ursun's patron nation, and of humans attempting to save their god. They are a jack of all trades with a large number of generalist units. Fairly easy to start out with. They got ice magic and they ride on bears. It's just cool. Now if you want something more specialized, Grand Cathay. Basically, imagine Imperial China ruled by dragons. They want to find Ursun to get knowledge on the location of another dragon in hopes of uniting the divided dragon houses. The main gimmick of the Cathay Dragon Cafe is that they are all about balance. Going along certain technological advances will increase the yin, the other the yang. And when they are perfectly balanced, you get serious buffs. Their troops are also split into two sides of yin and yang, with combat being all about putting the right troops in the right places. Now that we've talked about the humans, let's talk about the not-humans, the ogres. Somebody once told me the bear god is dying, so the ogres are on a journey to eat it. The ogres are like giant cannibalistic onions. They have lairs, are very stinky, dumb, will make you cry, and are very durable. Have you ever tried punching an onion before? Let me just get this out of the way. It doesn't work. Right, ogres. They're on the slower moving side of things. Still more mobile thanks to some cavalry, but generally all about tanking hits and making the opponent cry their eyes out, like onions. But if you really want to get big, tanky, and stinky, Nurgle, god of death, nature, and disease. You can thank him for the past 2 years, by the way. You play as Kuga, Plague Father. You want Ursun's body to make new diseases. Your troops are built like big chunkus. You move slowly, but can take some serious abuse. Your main weapon is spreading disease around the battlefield, rather than just punching someone in the face and being done with it. Essentially, replace a tank's cannon with a very sick human child, and you got a Nurglite unit. Your settlements go through a constant state of being made, destroyed, and rebuilt, as is the way of Papa Nurgle. More complex due to settlement management, but they got a lot of personality. Now, if you want something simple, Khorne, god of war, violence, and chads. You play as Skarbrand, an exiled bloodthirster who's attempting to get back into Daddy's good graces by taking Ursun's skull for his throne. Your gameplay consists of two options. Plan A, running in with nothing but melee screaming, "Blood for the blood god! Skulls for the skull throne!" Or Plan B, there is no Plan B. You only run in pure melee. There is no negotiation, economy, or magic. That's for nerds. We're here to spill blood and take skulls, and nothing else. Though on the topic of nerds, Tzeentch, god of magic, change, nerds, and memes, the DNA of the soul. You play as Kairos, the two-headed bird demon that can see 10 seconds into the past and 10 seconds into the future, but cannot perceive the present. Wanting Ursun's eyes to see the present, your gameplay consists of being a cheeky little goblin running the Illuminati, using long-range spells, force shields, and magic. You're all about using those two big brains of yours to plan around, predict your opponent's movements, and keep out of range. Diplomacy is actually a part of the actions you can perform with Tzeentch, though obviously not the main appeal. You have to have finished reading Sun Tzu's The Art of War to play Tzeentch, but on the topic of diplomacy, Slaanesh, god of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You play as Carey, the champion of Slaanesh. The demonetization dominator desires the soul of Ursun to post his CBT onto her OnlyFans account to increase the number of simps subscribed. Those are indeed real words that did make it into the script. Gameplay consists of them seducing, which is showcased in two factions. The first being diplomacy, where you specialize in forcing the leaders of other nations to become tier 3 subs onto your Twitch live streams. The second being that your war tactics consist of stealing the opponent's troops to serve as meat shields, as your opponents showcase how having big meaty claws ain't just for attracting mates. However, you are glass cannons, meaning it's easy for you to lose units. Now to the final faction, the Demon Prince, a former human of Kislev, now servant of all of the Chaos Gods, and the one who put Ursun on life support. You have the most customizable main general and can use all of the previously mentioned demon units in combination with each other. Your goal is to finish the job and ascend, becoming the new god of Kislev. I'd obviously recommend playing this game. It's fun, runs well, and multiplayer is steadily approaching, so be excited to play with your friends. Now let's send it to Jasmine with baking.
Death is like the winter chill. No door can keep it from us. In summer yet may bloom again, though ice be all upon us. is so much to tell you. But I have run out of time. The sacrifice I made was not enough. The dark gods still feed on our transgressions. Corruption. Obsession. Deceit. Rage. You must face these demons.
Thanks, Matthew. Recently, gluten-free desserts have been a popular item that many people request. Especially in Los Angeles, people all over ask for gluten-free breads, cookies, and much more. The question is, can they be as good as desserts with regular flour? One place that has amazing gluten-free desserts is Bread Block. Bread Block is located on Montana Street in Santa Monica. They are a gluten-free bakery made with fresh and pure ingredients. They have artisan breads and unique pastries. When trying Bread Block, I truly felt like I was eating a pastry made with regular flour. It's very difficult to find gluten-free croissants, and Bread Block sells the very best. I also highly recommend the amazing honey lavender cake. If you live in Los Angeles, I definitely recommend trying this bakery and restaurant. Now let's send it to Cami with the weather.
Thanks, Jasmine. Welcome to this week's weather forecast for the week of March 14th, 2022. This week in Los Angeles, we will be experiencing sunny skies with high in the 70s throughout the week. Today we'll see sunny skies with a high of 75 and a low of 54. Tuesday we'll continue to see clear skies with a high of 75 degrees. Wednesday, skies are bright with an increase of 77 degrees. Thursday we'll be headed into the low 80s with a high of 81 degrees. Finally, on Friday, we will experience clear skies with temperatures in the low 80s. Thank you for watching this week's weather forecast. I'm Cami Lady, and have a great week. Now let's send it back to the desk.
Thank you, Cami, and thank you for tuning in to this week's Norman News. I'm Grace Suomi.
And I'm Natalie Gold. We will see you next week.